So yeah, we're going to have a nicely painted main body. Okay, we got the tail fin looking pretty good. And that yellow actually gives a good idea on how I want to do this, although a little smudgy on that side. And yeah, I'm human, so of course I'm going to make some mistakes here and there. For the underside of this wing, I'm going to just get the tail fins painted, because those parts will probably show. And yeah, I know, I'm probably just gonna get accused for taking shortcuts again. This is my figure. I'll paint it as I see fit. I'm not exactly planning to sell it or anything. But yeah, something like that. Okay, and I think for this portion we're set. And we might need to give this a little time to dry off before we do anything else. Okay, so I'm going to give this a couple hours to dry off, and then we'll come back and do the next part. Yeah, I'm going to take my time with this because I want it to come out nicely. I'm sure you guys want a nice clean looking figure too. So I'll catch you later and be back soon. Okay, and that's another thigh done. Looks pretty nice, don't you think? And we got one more to do. I'm probably going to be doing some editing on this because there's going to be some parts where I'm just really quiet, which I apologize for. It's just hard to talk and paint at the same time because I tend to zone into what I'm doing. But we're going to keep trying to do this right. And, yeah. Gonna have to paint this in. Now, once I do the main body, we're probably going to be taking a break to let this dry a bit. Because, you know, it is paint. It does need time to dry before you can actually continue at some points. Otherwise it's going to be really ugly, and it's going to come off on your fingers, get a lot of fingerprints on the figure, which is not good. Yeah, and yeah, we got this one done too. And I do love how this looks on plastic. I mean, I really do like that metallic sheen. I mean, if you really want a good example of how it looks, you can look no further than my Avatar figure. You can see how it's shiny and it's got that nice glittery look to it, which is why I'm kind of using it for this one too. Now we're off to the big part, the main body. And you can see there's quite a bit of spots that have primer on it, which are going to be different colors. It's not going to be all black. And you can probably even see that some are primed in silver instead of the gray. Don't worry, there's a reason. Of course. But we're going to get into painting the brown spots black. And some of the parts that are painted yellow. So again, the black doesn't need as much of a primer as others. I gotta do this carefully because there are parts that have primer that are meant for other colors. And I'm doing the dark colors first because I can always go back with the primer over it if I mess up there. And that's not going to be too difficult. It might slow me down a bit, but rather than trying to paint those colors over with the colors I want and then have to do it again because I got black on it, that's not exactly a good idea. But as you can see, we're starting to get the look in. Now, I've got an idea on how I want this, but I might be willing to change it as I go, as I think about everything, you know. Because sometimes you get a basic idea and you want to, then you get some other ideas and you want to try to go with those instead. Which is okay to do. You can, when you're doing a custom of your own, you're always welcome to make changes to the design on the fly. And I'm already seeing some justification for wanting to do the black first, as it's starting to bleed onto where the primer was. Now it's not severe or anything like that, but it is noticeable. And considering I'm planning on using a lighter color for it, I might want to go over that with that primer again. But luckily this stuff does dry quickly. At least quick enough where I can actually put the primer on very soon after I'm done with this. But when I'm going over the primer again and waiting for everything to dry, I will edit that part out because that could be a couple hours. And I don't think you guys want to sit around here for a couple hours watching paint dry. You want to see me apply the paint. You want to see the figure that comes as a result. Well, that's what I think you're watching this for. And if you actually want to watch paint dry, you might be watching the wrong channel. Or you can let me know in the comments if you really want to see the paint dry. Of course, by the time you do that, it's probably going to be done, and it's probably not even going to have any recording of that, because I'm probably just going to turn the camera off while I'm waiting for the paint to dry. But if you really want to see it the next time, I guess make some noise in the comments. I can't guarantee I'd actually do something like that though, because I really don't know who would actually want to watch paint dry. Of course, I'm probably overusing that too much. So back to the figure. As you can see, we're getting a lot of the chest details done, or at least the basic chest parts done, so it's looking a lot nicer already. And I'm not trying to speak bad of the Beast Hunter Starscream color scheme, but it's not exactly the greatest. I mean, the colors do kind of work together for them, but I don't know, it's not exactly my favorite color scheme for this figure, or this character. The pictures I've seen of Hunter Starscream, the Japanese version of this toy, looks a lot nicer. They're going for more closer to the standard Prime look. So it's like he changed to the mold but not the color scheme, which is pretty cool in itself. But I couldn't say which one I like better, because I'd never seen that one in person, and two, it's just not, this one's just not appealing to me, and well, basically I just haven't seen the other one in person. So I imagine it's better, but I couldn't say for certain without seeing it for myself. So yeah, I'm getting a little bit on the underside for this. Can't guarantee I'm going to be going all out for the underside, because it's really parts that no amount of paint can make look pretty. This is also the area that requires the most attention, because there's a lot of detailing that I'm going to be doing with this end. The nose cone, I mean. Yeah, I'm sure you can see where I got the primer, and you may notice that I'm not going over the yellow on the spikes at the front, because I have a different color scheme in mind for them. Luckily, that color that I have in mind doesn't need a primer. In fact, it could in itself be used as a primer. So when I get to it, it's not going to be affected by any black or gray splotches on it. But yeah, we got the cockpit done for now. And now we're going to get to work on the wings. Now I'm only going to be going over the brown bits on this one, so it's not going to be too heavy. yeah. But there seems to be some nice stuff coming down the pike as far as Transformers collectors go. Those Combiner Wars figures look really good. Although I'm a bit bummed that they're not completely using the original teams. Like, you know, you got most of them, but there's always going to be that one character that's kind of new. Which I guess they want to make some changes. That's fine and dandy. But I would have rather had the original characters, or at least given us the original characters plus those new guys. Maybe just a final wave with the original G1 added characters like Wild Rider or Slingshot. Don't care if they have to rename them just to get them out there. I would just like to have a Superion with Slingshot instead of Alpha Bravo. And Wild Rider instead of that strange compilation character guy whose name I can't remember offhand, so. Even though his vehicle mode does have a very Wild Rider look to it, even though it's a truck with the Wild Rider paint scheme, but the robot mode kind of kills it because it's got more blue in it than red. And Wild Rider's robot mode was black and red. And silver. Which I think is a major bummer because Wild Rider was my favorite Stunticon. So naturally I want him. And I do have Intimidator right now, so it's not like I don't have a Minosaur that I can keep if I don't want to get this set, but I'm probably going to get it because I really want to legit, it's like official Minosaur. Now, for Superion and for Minosaur, getting that fifth guy isn't too hard. All you gotta do is paint get an extra of one of the guys that they're already making. Fireflight is probably the best choice for Slingshot, and Breakdown is probably the best choice for Wild Rider. But get those guys, paint them up, and you can make them look like the fifth man. Got a lot of paint on there. Just gotta spread it out, and it'll be fine. Real nice. And I really do like the way these wings are designed. I think that is just superb. And works perfectly to what I want to do with it. And I'll just get a close-up look. And that is a really cool design choice for the wings. And that's molded detail that the paint is kind of really doing a good job of bringing out. These little bits here are kind of tricky to actually paint properly, because you gotta work around everything. And I know I'm probably going to be told that I should take these wings off while I'm doing it. There's probably a couple of comments about that in there right now before I even mention it. But these are pinned on, and I don't have access to a pin punch. I didn't really feel like trying to unscrew this section here and try to remove it. So yeah, I didn't remove him, but I'm painting him anyway. And for this side, I'm not going to forget the underside on it. There are going to be parts where I skip the underside, but this is not one of those cases. Yeah, I do love this design, because it is really nice. Fortunately, these hollow pieces are kind of a pain to paint, because it doesn't seem to go as smoothly as like if they were more pronounced, like the other side is. And I'm sure I'm going to get some comments saying that that's because I'm using a fingernail brush to paint them. Yeah, I think I'm doing pretty good for using a fingernail brush on this. And no, I'm not a fingernail stylist. I don't do up ladies' fingernails for a living or anything like that. I'm just doing this because I noticed that there's a lot of nice colors in those fingernail polishes, because you can't really go into a store without passing something up for them. And fortunately, it's kind of impossible to miss some of these fingernail things. Or maybe fortunately, since I'm making it work well for me. But yeah, got that wing's back done. Now we're going to do this one. And I might just have enough paint to get this figure the way I want them, which will be great. So, yeah, we're going to get this in there. I'm trying to avoid the missile pods because, those missiles are going to be a pain to deal with if painted. Yeah, and And I gotta decide what I want to do with those missiles anyway. So I'm not even sure what colors I'm going to paint them yet. Yeah, I got the ideas for the main body, but the accessories are a little bit of a different story. And if you remember right, he's got, like, Starscream came with 2 missiles and a claw grabber thingy. And I know I should think of a different name than a claw grabber thingy. I think it was what, the Talon Claw or something like that? I don't know. For me, yeah, it's just the claw grabber thingy. Which I'm not even sure I want to be using with this figure anyway. Because it's kind of dumb looking. I'm just trying to get this to where I can avoid any problems. Yeah, I think that does it for the 2 wings. See, they're done pretty nice. And now it's just the back of the jet. This is going to be the tricky part. Well, not really. It's actually going to be quite straightforward. Just gotta paint down that neck. I'm really going to try to avoid painting on any joints because any nail polish or paint will actually gum up a joint. And but yeah, that's pretty normal. But anyway, we're gonna get this painted up right, make it look good. Now, technically for the design I have in mind, this brown wouldn't have looked bad for it. I'm just choosing a black by aesthetic choice. Because, yeah, I'm actually going to be doing this based on Anubis from Ronin Warriors, whose armor was like, I believe it was a black with a blue underside, undercarrot parts, and he had that cloak with the which was brown with yellow trim. So I'm just going to take the brown out. I'm going to be putting that yellow trim in though. Which is why I love the wings for this idea, because they'll actually capture the shoulder parts for that armor pretty well. And this is actually just one of the trickier parts because you gotta get the black in the middle without messing too much with the primed gray pieces at the sides. Yeah, I'm doing it off camera, sorry. I'm not used to painting while on camera, so you have to excuse me a bit on that. Probably going to be obscenely long too. I'm not even sure how many people are going to be watching by this point. Yeah. And yeah, the yellow trim I'm going to be actually doing on the inner part where the silver is. So that's why I'm painting the yellow bits that are on there already. And yeah, I might get some flack for not priming parts of the shoulder pads to actually make them have that yellow bit. I figure the wings will actually cover that part very well. Yep, we're getting close to finished with this one. As you can see, the wings are starting to look nicer. In all honesty, this is actually turning out pretty well. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with how this is looking.